Thanks for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm extremely proud to be a part of this beautiful ecosystem in Tamil Nadu, and to be able to speak on behalf of Tata Electronics. I have a few slides. I'm going to keep this short. I know we will, get into a discussion in a while. I'm going to briefly talk about the electronic manufacturing sector. It's a new story for India. I'll spend a few minutes talking about it. And then I will share a little bit about the Tata Electronics adventure in this space, literally, and some of the things that we are experiencing as we grow this brand new organization. So let me begin by, of course, talking about the electronics industry in general. Now, we don't really need to, see this in a presentation that the electronics sector, the electronics devices industry, is growing and will continue to grow. Could be as large as 1.3 to 1.4 billion in a matter of 3 years or so. India alone could be about a $200 billion market. Whilst the devices manufacturers are growing at this rate, there's a significant shift that has occurred in the last few years. What's really happening is that some of the large brands in this space are increasingly focusing on the customer end, the end consumer end, focusing on innovation, focusing on design, they're focusing on marketing, and they have increasingly moved their manufacturing capability and outsourced this. And so that's led to another large sector, which is the electronics contract manufacturing sector that's emerged. Today, as we speak, most of this industry is based in China and to an extent in Taiwan. This is a very large sector which isn't really visible to the end consumer. There are large organizations like Foxconn, Behemoth in their own right, 200 plus billion US dollar revenue in that scale. And these organizations have really deepened their engineering and manufacturing capability. And these are very agile organizations that manage to convert some of these amazing designs from the device manufacturers into the real products that all of us use today. So that's what's happening. But what's also emerged in the last few years is the awareness of the fragility of our supply chains. And I think COVID has underscored this reality even more. And we see a trend where many large organizations are trying to de-risk their supply chains. They try to reconfigure their supply chains for reliability and reliance. And almost every large organization in this space has a China plus one policy. And coupled with that, there is a lot of focus on this industry from the Indian government. There are incentives, there are subsidies that make it interesting for us. And that's where the Tatas come into the picture. And we're trying to make the first Indian footprint in the electronics contract services manufacturing sector. So that's the backdrop. We've just begun our very first operation in Hosur, on the outskirts of Hosur. We're in the process of setting up a massive plant over a 577-acre piece of land. But in the next few slides, let me share a little more about what this industry is all about, what we are experiencing, and what we are trying to do. So it's a completely new space. We don't really have too many organizations that are operating in this space beyond China and Taiwan. So yeah, there's a whole set of new challenges for us. To begin with, in terms of manufacturing, this is a new space because of the combination of factors. It's about a very high level of precision, engineering, high volume, high speed, and new materials like thin-walled aluminum. This combination is really new for us. We're in the process of learning and figuring out how we will crack the manufacturing code. The next challenge here is people. We don't have ready talent for this industry. We don't have talent right from the technicians and the shop floor workers to engineering talent. We are growing this talent internally. We also need a very new code for making this organization successful. So traditionally, the large players in this industry have been very impersonal. The manner in which these organizations operate is not what the Tatas would like to do in terms of building a new sector, and I think that's something that it's for us to figure out. And then in terms of technology, this is a space that we're trying to figure out in terms of the platform technologies where we would need capability. And there are a few areas where we really need to find the talent, find the capability, learn deeply. Whilst these are some of the challenges today for us to get off the ground and become, to produce and start generating revenue, the reality is that we will grow, and we do plan to grow, only if we increase our productivity tremendously. What that really means is that we will grow in a very short time through automation, through Industry 4.0. We will have to look at IoT, which means that it isn't sufficient that we build a talent pool which is skilled for today. Very soon we'll have to look at skilling them for higher order cognitive skills. It will not be sufficient to operate the way we have begun business today in a matter of a few years. So that's really the context in which we are operating. So here are our first steps. We've been around about 18 months now. We're in the process of setting up our large manufacturing unit in Kelamangalam on the outskirts of Hosur. It's 577 acres of land. We've already begun construction. We are halfway through. We're operational there already. Must say, I was listening intently in the first session, and Mr. Bansula, I mean, when you were talking about it, I could totally relate to, we couldn't do this kind of a business without the support of the government and the different departments. And earlier today, I was speaking with one of our board members, Mr. Vivekananda, and he was talking particularly about the tremendous support that we have experienced from the different government bodies, right from TIDCO, SIPCOT, to the different water boards, etc. It's, without that kind of a support, no organization can set up something so massive so quickly. So yeah, that's what's happening right now. We are focusing on building platform technology capability. That's very critical, because unless we learn the engineering, it's going to be tough for us to make an inroad into this industry. We don't have ready talent. So we decided, since whosoever we hire, we'll have to build this talent pool, we decided we're going to have women in 90% of the shop floor roles. Now, this is interesting because we've seen women operating a lot in, say, businesses which are essentially around assembly, but we're talking about machining, we're talking about CNC machining, we're talking about a whole lot of technologies which are not traditionally the women's domain. So it's really exciting to be a part of this. And of course, there can be no development without social impact. So from day one, we've been talking about how do we operate in our environment, how do we work with the communities all around us. Let me just briefly talk about some of the technologies that we're focusing on. There's precision machining. We've literally put up thousands of CNC machines. We are training thousands of our workers to operate CNC machines, and that, especially in this precision space, that's new. There's a lot of capability building we are doing around assertive finishings and around high corrosion resistance. So that's another area of capability. Plus precision welding, precision gluing, and precision molding. Now, while some of these capabilities exist, they exist at an entirely different scale in India. So we're really talking about a few micron kind of precision here. And the next part, the talent bit, I think this is my favorite bit, and I could resonate so much when Mr. Gopal Srinivasan and Dr. I got the name, Dr. Narayanan, yes. They were talking about the talent, and this is really the most exciting part of what we are doing here. So when we realize we don't have the talent, we're going to, whosoever we hire, we'll have to train them. We're going to hire women. We decided we'll hire women with who've just completed school, class 12 pass out, and we're doing something that we are referring to as impact sourcing. What we are doing is we're going to villages, we're going to districts where there are fewer opportunities for young women. We're hiring directly from these villages. Largely in Tamil Nadu, we're also hiring from other states. And we have a selection process, we bring them on board, we skill them, We invest heavily in building the technical capability, also the behavioral strength and the skills and the abilities that require, that are required for this transition into an industrial career. So there's a whole lot that we are looking at for building capability here, and we are leveraging the local government machinery for driving, this mobilization, reaching out, communicating, engaging with people across the villages, and hiring people. And I think the important thing is that we plan to focus on the education and the skilling, because we want to build this body of female workers who are capable, strong, who make a positive impact on their societies and communities. The other part, overall in the talentscape, we're really building the whole, the talent landscape here. The first year alone, we hired 150 graduate engineer training. That's not remarkable by itself, but the fact that 90% of them are women, I think that's something. And we've been hiring women with mechanical engineering, mechatronics backgrounds, etc. And we're also parallelly looking at, we're hiring young people. So our plan is to focus on how do we provide educational opportunities for people as they work with us, how do they continue to grow with us. And we've already signed up for a BSc program for our class 12 pass outs. Some of them next month will begin their BSc programs while they work with us. We're also looking at leveraging technology. And I think one important piece of making all of this successful is helping young people successfully transition into this new way of living. So they're coming away from their families for the first time. So there are hostels, there are support systems. We want to build an ecosystem which is caring, and we have capable, strong individuals who form this organization. And from day one, we are looking at what's the culture that we want to build in this place. So our performance management, other measures, everything is focused on building a culture that nurtures growth. So with that, I'll come to the last part of my presentation. We're doing a fair bit with our immediate ecosystem. We've done a sociological research for a 30-kilometer radius. We've reached out to some 55 villages to understand the lives and the livelihoods of people in these communities. And our attempt is to work through multiple channels to engage and build a thriving community around us. For example, for a start, we've been hiring extensively from the local communities. We've done a lot of work around vaccination, reaching out to almost 15,000 people in our immediate vicinity. We've organized, certain self-help groups around dairy with local women. We've worked with local farmers and so on. We're also working on, local issues such as the man-elephant conflict, etc. We are a part of the Krishnagiri area, and some not very far there is elephant country, literally. So this is our attempt. I think it's been a brilliant experience for us in the last about 18 months, and there's a lot more to do. And with that, looking forward to continuing our journey here. That's all from me. Over to you.